it just a moment for everyone to come in from the waiting room. As a reminder, unless you are presenting to the board or testifying, please mute yourself. If you are being sworn in as a manager of record, please ensure that your audio and video are functioning. Good afternoon. This is a hearing before the licensing board for the City of Boston. Today is June 30th, 2021. Today's hearing is being conducted pursuant to certain temporary amendments to the open meeting law. That is what allows us to meet virtually. Today's hearing is being recorded and will be posted to the City of Boston's website. Before I review procedural matters, I will introduce Chairwoman Kathleen Joyce.
Good afternoon. My name is Kathleen Joyce. I am chair of the licensing board, and today I'm joined by Commissioner Liam Curran and Commissioner Kiana Saxon.
Thank you. I will read each item into the record in the order it appears on the agenda. Please identify who is present on behalf of the applicant. You will then have the opportunity to explain to the board what you are proposing, followed by questions from the chairwoman and commissioners. We will then take public testimony, beginning with elected officials or their representatives, followed by the general public. When you are called upon to give testimony, please identify yourself with your full name, your address, and your affiliation, if any. Testimony will be limited to 2 minutes, at which time you will be muted. Written testimony is also accepted, and no additional weight is given to spoken testimony over written testimony. Calling Linval Chambers, doing business as Flames Restaurant 5, located at 1 Peabody Square, has applied for a common victular license to be exercised on the above kitchen, dining, serving area, walk-in cooler, utility room and storage, seating for 12. Manager Andre Chambers, hours of operation 7 a.m. to 12 a.m. Who is present on behalf of the applicant? Is there anyone present on behalf of Flames? We will take a second call. GFM Bartlett LLC, doing business as Good Food Markets, located at 2565 Washington Street, has applied for a common victular license to be exercised on the above first floor grocery and cafe with kitchen and storage in rear, 24 seats. Manager Philip Sample, hours of operation 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Who is present on behalf of the applicant?
Yusuf Yassin.
I'm sorry, could you please state your name again?
Yes, my name is Yusuf Yassin. I'm here on behalf of Good Food Markets.
And we're sharing a computer just so you can have a better view rather than a phone view. And so it's under my name, Rebecca Callahan Klein, on the screen. But Yusuf Yassin is the manager,
general manager
for Good Food Market.
Great, please explain what you're proposing.
Yeah, the proposal is a full service grocery store with a cafe and a community room.
Okay, this is going to be 24 seats?
It will be 24 seats, yes.
Okay. And your hours of operation, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., is that 7 days a week?
7 days a week, yes.
And you'll be the manager, right?
I'll be the general manager, yes.
Okay. I don't have any other questions, commissioners, do you?
Yeah, thanks.
No, thank you.
Are there any individuals who wish to testify regarding this application, beginning with elected officials or their representatives?
No, we reached out to our councilor, the mayor, to her office. I talked to one of her chief of staff, and she's in full support of this.
Okay. Are there any other individuals who wish to testify regarding this application?
Yes, Jason Gant from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. I would like to go in support of this proposal, but I would like to leave the decision to the vote of the board, as they are having 2 upcoming community meetings that will be taking place by the end of July.
Okay, good. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Any other individuals who wish to testify? Seeing none, the board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling Bon Bon Inc., doing business as Mamacita, located at 329 Huntington Avenue, has applied for a common victular license to be exercised on the above 1 floor dining room, 55 seats, 2 bathrooms and a kitchen. 11 a.m. to 1. I'm sorry, 11 a.m. to 1 a.m.
Everyone mute themselves unless you're presenting.
My name is Bruce Sabaker. I'm present.
Please tell the board what you're proposing.
This was previously this was a bar restaurant that closed, and we wanted to open up in the same location, and we wanted to do a fast casual restaurant where you can have the customers can sit and eat a meal and also be able to take it to go. And we want to be open 7 days a week, and it's really focusing on healthy, authentic Mexican food, but with very localized ingredients and regional dishes. So it's not specific dishes that are really geared toward being healthy.
Thank you. What was the name of the restaurant that was here beforehand?
Before, for many years, it was called Connor Larkin's Bar and Grill.
Are you planning on applying for a liquor license in the future?
In the future, we'd love to have beer, just beer and wine. There's a symphony crowd, and we wanted to do something. It's fast casual, but a little bit of upscale. It would be nice to have if possible.
Okay. All right, I don't have any other questions. Commissioners, do you?
Seeing no questions, are there any individuals who wish to testify regarding this application, beginning with elected officials or their representatives?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, Patrick Fandel, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. The applicant has reached out to the abutters and community groups in the area with no concerns raised. We'd like to go on record in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals who wish to testify regarding this proposal? Seeing none, the board will take this under advisement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling the Underground Cafe and Lounge, LLC, doing business as the Underground Cafe and Lounge, located at 742 to 744 Columbus Avenue, has applied for a common victular license to be exercised on the above front dining area with kitchen, 42 seats, storage and office in the rear, 2 ADA restrooms. Manager Nia Grace, hours of operation 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And I see Ms. Grace is present.
Hi, Nia Grace, representing the Underground LLC.
Great, please tell the board what you're proposing.
I am the current owner of Darrell's Corner Bar and Kitchen, which is also located on Columbus Avenue. We are pitching our soul food inspired breakfast, lunch operation in a cafe. As stated, 42 seats offering dining capability as well as takeout. We, again, primarily serving breakfast and brunch, and we would also be available for private event rentals, where in those instances, we would apply for on like case by case beer and wine and entertainment, should we need to.
Okay. As far as your hours of operation, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., is that 7 days a week?
We are looking at a Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Closed on Sundays.
Thank you. Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon, do you have any questions?
Questions?
Are there any individuals who wish to testify regarding this application, beginning with elected officials or their representatives?
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is Jason Gant from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We'd like to go on record in support of this proposal. They had an abutters meeting June 9th where they addressed all the concerns of the community members and abutters in the abutting area. And we just, yeah, we think that they should definitely continue working with anyone in the area. And I'll personally check in with Nia to make sure if she has any issues around it.
Great, thank you. Are there any other individuals who wish to testify regarding this application? Seeing none, the board will take this under advisement. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Calling CJ Washington Street LLC, doing business as Doubletree Hotel Boston, located at 821 Washington Street. Holder of an in-holder all alcoholic beverages license has petitioned to change the manager of the licensed business from Daniel Dwyer to Anthony Frazone. Attorney Christine Fielding. Is Attorney Fielding present?
Eric Altpeter is here on behalf of the applicant. I'm also an attorney with Flaherty and O'Hara.
And is the proposed manager of record present as well?
I believe so.
I see him under Tony Franzone. I think he's on. I think you're on mute, sir. Nope.
He's unmuted. Mr. Franzone, can you hear us? Because we can see him.
Maybe you can write his answers in the chat or something.
Why don't we see Mr. Altpeter, if you want to ask your client if he wants to try dialing in, and we'll take the next item and then we can return to this.
Sure.
Thank you. Calling CMR Prime LLC, doing business as Ocean Prime, located at 140 Seaport Boulevard. Holder of an in-holder all alcoholic beverages license has petitioned to change the manager of the licensed business from Rebecca Omet to Tyler Maniscalco.
Please, the board, my name is Kerry Boyle. I'm general counsel for Ocean Prime. I do have with me today Tyler Maniscalco, the general manager.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Mr. Boyle. Continue.
Oh, sorry, I thought I was getting interrupted. I have with me Tyler Maniscalco, the applicant for the change of manager with me today.
Okay. Other than the change of manager, are there any other changes to operations?
No.
Okay. Mr. Maniscalco,
Yes.
are you a citizen?
Yes.
Are you a resident of the Commonwealth?
Yep.
Do you have experience in the food and beverage industry?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the rules and regulations of this board, the ABCC, and the laws of the Commonwealth as they pertain to the sale and service of alcohol?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
don't have any other questions. Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon, do you?
Seeing no questions, are there any individuals who wish to testify regarding this matter? Seeing none, the board will take this under advisement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I do not see Anthony.
I do. He's here.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Sorry about that. I'm having trouble with my computer here.
No problem. Thank you for working with us on that.
So for the record, this is item 5, and this is the change of manager to Anthony Franzone.
Yes.
So would you or your attorney like to proceed and tell us what your, oh, so just the change of manager?
Yeah, just the change of manager. We're going from, we have the alcohol beverage license. We're just changing the name to my name, Anthony Franzone.
Okay.
I'm the manager here.
Mr. Franzone, are you a citizen?
Yes.
Are you a resident of the Commonwealth?
Yes, I am.
Do you have experience in the food and beverage industry?
Yes, I do. I've been general manager for the last 30 years.
Okay. Are you familiar with the rules and regulations of this board, the ABCC, and the laws of the Commonwealth as they pertain to the sale and service of alcohol?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have no questions. Thank you very much. Commissioners, do you?
Thank you.
Seeing no questions, are there any individuals who wish to testify regarding this matter? Seeing none, the board will take this under advisement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tremont Street Liquor Group, Inc., doing business as Wine Emporium, located at 607 Tremont Street. Holder of a retail package store all alcoholic beverages license is petitioned to pledge the license stock and inventory to East Cambridge Savings Bank. Attorney Nelson Chang. Attorney Chang.
For the record, Attorney Nelson Chang with offices at 47 Jackson Street in Saugus, Massachusetts, representing the petitioner. With me is Jula Saeed, who is the principal of the business.
Thank you. Attorney Chang, can you tell us what the reason is for the pledge?
Yes, back actually last year, probably around February, they refinanced with East Cambridge Savings Bank for the purposes of upgrading the facility as well as additional inventory, and in particular because they got a really good rate. At that time, it was agreed that we would file to have a pledge of the license stock and inventory that was filed with the licensing board in early March, just before COVID, and because of COVID, it kind of got lost with everything else. As a result, we have had to refile, and we're here today for that purpose. Financing is basically 15 years with initial rate of 4.75%, which was the principal driving force behind the refinance, and it'll change every 5 years. Total amount is 1.7 million.
Okay, thank you very much for explaining that. I don't have any other questions. Commissioners, do you?
Seeing no questions, are there any individuals who wish to testify regarding this matter? Seeing no one, the board will take this under advisement.
Thank you.
Calling Urban Grape South End LLC, doing business as the Urban Grape South End, located at 303 Columbus Avenue. Holder of a retail package store all alcoholic beverages license has petitioned for a change of officers, directors, LLC managers. Lastly, has petitioned for a change of ownership interest. Attorney John Shin. Is Attorney Shin present?
I am. Good afternoon, Commissioners. And also on the Zoom call is Mr. Anthony Douglas Jr., who's a LLC member and manager, and also the manager of record, and also his wife, Mrs. Elizabeth Douglas.
Thank you. Are there any changes to operations at this location?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. Commissioner Saxon or Commissioner Curran?
Seeing no questions, are there any individuals who wish to testify regarding this matter?
Captain.
All right, seeing no testimony, the board will take this under advisement. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Calling Nicole's Pizza Inc., located at 639 Tremont Street. Holder of a restricted common vitular 7-day wine and malt beverages license has petitioned to change the classification of its license to wines, malt beverages, and liqueurs pursuant to the authority contained in Chapter 481 of the Acts of 1994. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Hi, Fadi Samaha. I'm the manager, and Ghassan Samaha, the owner, is also present, I believe.
Great. Please tell the board what you're proposing.
We're just trying to add cordials to our beverage selection, keeping everything else the same, just trying to add some more items of variety.
Okay. I'm sorry, this is number 10. Leslie?
Sorry, this is item 9. This is Nicole's Pizza adding cordials.
Okay, I must have an old agenda. Okay, can you explain to us a little bit more about why you want to add the cordials?
Sure, we just want to have a bigger selection of things. Where we work with Bully Boy over in Southie. Southie. We're adding emerald-based drinks, and there's a little trend towards hard seltzers. So we want to cover that all. We can offer to customers. We've talked to the neighborhood associations and Kim in the mayor's office, and we have full support from the neighbors.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't have any further questions. Commissioners, do you?
Seeing no questions, are there any individuals who wish to testify, beginning with elected officials or their representatives?
Hi, yes. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the board. My name is Kim Crucioli from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. The Mayor's Office would like to go on record in support of this proposal. An abutters meeting was held where there was no opposition shown by the abutters, and they also received a letter of support from the Pilot Block Neighborhood Association. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals who wish to testify regarding this matter? Seeing none, the board will take this under advisement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling Marriott Hotel Services, Inc., doing business as Boston Marriott Hotel, located at 110 Huntington Avenue. Holder of an in-holder all alcoholic beverages license has petitioned to amend the description of the licensed business from in whole of said building to in whole of said building, excluding the restaurant space on the second floor, formerly operated as Champions, containing approximately 12,550 square feet and 297 square feet in basement. CISD certificate for complete capacity. Attorney Joseph Devlin. Attorney Devlin.
Good afternoon, everyone. Andrew Upton on behalf of Attorney Devlin, representing the Marriott.
Go ahead, Attorney Upton.
Thank you very much. This is a alteration of premises in the Marriott Copley. Champion Sports Bar is a 25-year-old somewhat dated sports concept that went out of business during the pandemic, and that space has been unused for many months since that time. What we're looking to do right now is to carve out that space from the licensed premise And I believe after that, the real Attorney Devlin will appear with a potential occupant to lease that space. So it was previously owned and operated by the hotel. Now we're going to carve it out and lease it to a third-party operator. So it's just an alteration of premise.
Thank you. I don't have any questions, Commissioner Curran and Commissioner Saxon.
Seeing no questions, are there any individuals who wish to testify regarding this application, beginning with elected officials or their representatives? Are there any other individuals who wish to testify regarding this application? Seeing none, the board will take this matter under advisement.
Thank you very much.
Calling SVRE LLC, doing business as Beacon Street Locale, located at 495 Beacon Street. Holder of a common victular 7-day all alcoholic beverages license has petitioned to transfer the license and the location of from the above to Yard House USA Inc., doing business as Yard House, located at 110 Huntington Avenue. The premise consists of the former location space known as Champions at the Boston Marriott Hotel Copley on the second floor, containing approximately 12,535 square feet and 297 square feet in basement of hotel. Seating capacity is 289. Stephen Arkelian, manager, 2 a.m. closing hour, Attorney Joseph Devlin. Attorney Devlin?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Joe Devlin. I'm an attorney partner actually at the Upton Cannell and Devlin Law Firm at 112 Water Street. I do have to have a preliminary check to see if the manager of record is here. He's at Fenway and they had their point of sale system went down temporarily, so he was running late. Stephen, are you on this call?
Joe, he's trying to get on, but I guess he's having technical difficulties, so I'm still working with him on it.
So I have the Senior Vice President and Drew Minervino with us, but we don't have the manager of record. Would you like to put this over?
You can continue if he can join.
Great.
Maybe he can join by the time you're done with your presentation and our questions.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. As I said, I represent Yard House USA Inc. They're here for a transfer and change of location of an all alcoholic beverages restaurant license from SVRE LLC, which did business as Locale at 495 Beacon Street, and it's going to Yard House USA Inc., which will do business as Yard House, and it's going to be located at the space formerly known as Champions in the Marriott Copley Plaza Hotel. As I just said, with me are Drew Minervino, who's the Senior Vice President of Operations for Yard House, and hopefully joining us soon is Stephen Acrelian, who's the proposed manager of record. If it pleases the chair, I can summarize the application for you.
Yes, please.
Yard House has been engaged by the hotel's property owner, which is separate from Marriott, which is the brand name owner and also the management company at the hotel. And the property owner has engaged Yard House to operate a Yard House restaurant at that former Champions space. Champions was a Marriott restaurant concept that's operated at some of its hotels, as you heard earlier. It's been here for at least 27 years, and I think my memory goes back even further, but the general manager at Marriott came back to Copley in 1994, and he said it was there then. In the end, it's a hotel, restaurant, and bar with limited offerings, and it run its course. As the board knows, restaurants often turn over at a faster pace, and the hotel owner is looking for an upgrade here after the closure from the pandemic. In Yard House, they're getting what they call a halo brand, which is a company that has a great reputation across the country. It attracts more people to the hotel and diners from the mall who are not staying at the hotel. And they weren't getting that with Champions. And having a third-party operator who's skilled and experienced at running a first-class location is a common setup in the hotel industry. There are a number of Marriott-branded hotels in Boston, Massachusetts that have that, but also other hotels, and hotel ownerships have that. Yard House runs 2 such restaurants and hotels, one in Las Vegas and one in Denver. And this is an area that the company sees as a place for growth. Particularly in this location, Yard House is very excited. There's 1,100 hotel rooms in the Marriott, but there's also, by one count pre-pandemic, 60,000 or so people who visit the Copley and Prudential malls every day. And they ride that escalator that's immediately adjacent to the space and overlooking and looking into the space. As the board is aware, Copley Place is a high-end mall. It's got over 50 upscale retail stores, including Dior, Louis Vuitton, and Fendi. It gives immediate indoor access to 2 hotels, 2 anchor stores, 4 office towers with 7 floors and 845,000 square feet of rentable office space. And then through the Skyways, it gives access to even more retail stores and hotels in the Prudential and beyond. There's also been, in the last couple of years, an approved residential tower over the Neiman Marcus. That's been on and off again, but it was approved by the BRA or whatever they are, BRDA now, which would add, hundreds of luxury residential units as well. So it's an area of development. There's 1,400 parking spaces, and then it was practically built on top of, a tea station. So there's great tea access. With all of that, there's only one restaurant in the Copley Place mall itself, which is the Legal Seafood, which is itself emerging from bankruptcy. You might have had a hearing with that recently, or one upcoming. So to that end, Yard House sees an economic opportunity for another first-class restaurant here. Looking at from the regulatory perspective, the large amount of pedestrian traffic and retail and office space, that establishes this great economic opportunity, also establishes the public need for the license here. This Yard House will look similar to the 4 other locations in Mass: Fenway, Burlington, Dedham, and Linfield. They're known for their large number of craft beers on tap and their modern American fare. 100 items that are created from scratch in their kitchen. The decor is, they focus on open space, which this already has, and traditional finishes with a modern industrial touch. There are 81 Yard House locations in the United States, and they foresee this one being in the top 25% of those locations in terms of sales. As a result, they're probably going to have 150 to 170 employees here, which is higher than their other locations in Mass, and about 2 times more than what Champions had. Overall, Daughter Restaurants, the parent company, employs approximately 185,000 people in 1,800 restaurant locations in the country. They're a good business citizen. They donate food and money through their Darden Foundation to nonprofits that are focused on food insecurity and disaster relief, like Feeding America and the American Red Cross. And they donate millions of pounds of food each year to local food banks. So they really try to give back to their host communities. We reached out to the Office of Neighborhood Services and the Neighborhood Association of the Back Bay on this. As the board is aware, for premises like this that are totally within the malls, NAB doesn't take a position on the proposal, and they stated that to us, and ONS defers to NAB, or deferred to NAB on this one. Finally, Steve Acrillion, who I hope in this, I've been stalling actually, but
it's okay. We can
hopefully
he's here.
Oh, great.
He's here, Joe.
Also with us is Leon Calderon, that's her voice. She is the head of compliance in Orlando for Darden Restaurants. But Stephen Acrillion is the proposed manager of record. He is currently the manager of record at Fenway, so he's been previously approved by this board. They are actually finalizing the GMs between here and Fenway right now. So it might be back with the manager change if they decide that Steven's going to stay at Fenway. But in either event, before this opens, we'll have a GM and a full management staff there, and we'll have been before you if it's not Steven, but he's prepared to take on the duties if he must. We're here to answer any questions we might have, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, Attorney Devlin. Just quickly, is Steven here? We already covered the questions since he's already an approved manager of record. I just wanted to give an opportunity to, is he with Leanne? No?
He's here, but he has to unmute.
Or just put his camera on.
I think he wasn't able to get onto the camera because he was having technical difficulties, but he called in. but it shows him on mute. He's the 2663 number.
Leslie, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. He's a previously approved manager of record, so
That's what I thought.
yeah, he's all set.
So Attorney Devlin, I don't have any questions for about the manager of record or for the manager of record, but the description says it's 12,535 square feet. So is this the same size as what Champions was?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right, so you're not taking up any more space inside the Marriott. You're going into the same footprint.
No.
Okay. All right, I have no questions. Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon?
Seeing no questions, are there any individuals who wish to testify regarding this matter? Right, seeing no one present.
Sorry about that. Good afternoon, Madam of the Chair, members of the board. Anna Calderon from Councilor Flynn's office. The councilor would like to go on record in opposition to this proposal. Thank you.
Are there any other individuals who wish to testify regarding this application? Seeing none, the board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Items 12 and 13 are dependent on each other. Calling item 12, the Family Restaurant Partners LLC, doing business as Backyard Betty's, located at 172 to 174 West Broadway. Holder of a common vitular all alcoholic beverages license has petitioned to change the location of the licensed business from 170 West Broadway to 400 Dorchester Street. Premise consists of a restaurant on 2 floors, total square footage of 2,535 square feet. On first floor, table seating for 36, bar with seating for 12 and handicap restroom. In basement, there are 2 restrooms, kitchen and storage, closing hour 2 a.m. Attorney Joseph Hanley. Attorney Hanley?
Good morning, Madam Secretary, Madam Chair, members of the board. Thank you again for the record, Attorney Joe Hanley, 28 State Street in Boston. I have David Mateo, who is manager, principal owner of the LLC for the licensee with me as well. Madam Chair, fairly simple request to change the location of the existing license. No changes to the any other aspects of the license. The purpose is Mr. Mateo and his parents and his partners, had operated at the space at 170 West Broadway, which is in the lower end of South Boston. Like a lot of operations, they were severely impacted by the pandemic. Their parent company is also in the development business, and they've been approved for a mixed-use building in Andrew Square, which is also in South Boston. And they have ground level space, which they're seeking to move this license to. The BPDA approved the development in 2018 and construction is underway. You received a letter from Patty McCormick and Linda Zablocki from the Andrew Square Civic Association supporting this change. So at this point, we don't have all of the details as to the actual concept, but as you'll see in the letter of support, we would like to transfer the license to this new space as we finish construction and firm up the new operation in the concept.
Okay. So this is going to be a ground level of a mixed use building.
Correct.
Maybe it's here. How many, is it going to be residential?
Yeah, so the building's a 6-story building with 35 residential units, and then we are the anchor of on the ground floor. So Mr. Mateo, Mr. Winnick, who are restaurant owners, are also operate Cedarwood Development in South Boston, and we're the proponents. The project was well received by the neighborhood, and if you know that, sort of the aspects of South Boston, Andrew Square is a place that lacks a lot of sit-down restaurants, and so the neighborhood group is very enthusiastic to do whatever they can to help, create more of that placemaking in that part of the neighborhood. And so this transfer will really allow Mr. Mateo, Mr. Winnick to put their license there and open the restaurant as was supported throughout the development process and now the licensing process.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any other questions. Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon?
Seeing Seeing no questions, are there any individuals who wish to testify regarding this matter, beginning with elected officials or their representatives?
Hi, Madam Chair, members of the board, Haley Dillon, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. I'd like to go on record and support. The applicants have worked very closely with the community, and to quote the Andrew Square Civic Association, they are enthusiastically in support of this project. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam of the Chair, members of the board. Ana Calderon from Councilor Flink's office. The councilor would like to go on record in support. The Andrew Square Neighborhood Association also provided a support letter. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any
Madam Chair, members of the board, Jack Studley from Anissa Sabi George's office, echoing the same reasons from Councilor Flynn, we would like to go on record in support.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals who wish to testify? Seeing none, the board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling Boston Pubs LLC, doing business as the Ginger Man, located at 148 State Street. Holder of a common victualler 7-day all alcoholic beverages license has petitioned to transfer the license and location from the above to Bar Volpe LLC, doing business as Bar Volpe, located at 170 West Broadway. The premise consists of one level with booths and dining tables along the south wall and a central bar area with combined seating capacity of 142. There will be no outdoor seating. Total square footage is approximately 5,200 square feet. Karen Akunowicz, manager, 2 a.m. closing hour. Attorney Nicholas Zuzula. Attorney Zuzula, are you present?
Yes.
I see him.
Yes, good morning. Good afternoon, Madam Secretary. Sorry, I was muted. I apologize. Good afternoon, Madam Secretary, Madam Chair, members of the board, Attorney Nick Zuzula, McDermott, Quilty, and Miller. Here with me today, as Madam Secretary read into the record, from Bar Volpe LLC is Karen Akunowicz. She is the chef owner of the proposed restaurant and is also the proposed manager of record on the liquor license. Just some brief background on Karen. In her experience, she's a James Beard Award winner. She's a highly regarded chef and owner of the nationally acclaimed and locally acclaimed Fox and the Knife restaurant at 28 West Broadway, which has been open for a few years now and was named previously one of Food and Wine's best new restaurants in America. She previously was an executive chef at Myers and Chang, worked at Via Mata in Back Bay, and also helped open as an executive sous chef at the Beehive restaurant in the South End. What she's proposing at this location is to open her second restaurant in South Boston, this one at 170 West Broadway, which is located about a quarter mile or so on West Broadway from Fox and the Knife. So she's very well known in the neighborhood, and she has good experience operating in the neighborhood. And as was on the previous matter with Attorney Hanley, this would be the site of the former Backyard Betty's restaurant, which is now moving to Andrew Square. So as far as the concept itself, Bar Volpe is proposing to bring the best from the south of Italy to South Boston, where wood-fired seafood, handcrafted pastas, classic Italian cocktails, and Karen's traditional warm hospitality will come together to create a casual dining experience. It will be an ode to the pastas, vegetables, wood-fired cooking, vibrant flavors of Southern Italy, and is a very personal project to Chef Karen, who spent months living in Italy, learning to make pasta, and it's an expression of her travels through the south of Italy. So it will be a very nice compatible and sister restaurant to Fox and the Knife. As far as the restaurant space and operations is concerned, again, same space as Backyard Betty's. Previously in that space in a mixed-use building on the ground floor with condos above it. Different setup, different concept, also different proposed hours of operation, of course, from that previous concept in the space. It's about 5,200 square feet, and it has a seating capacity of 142. There will be booths and dining tables, a central bar area, but as read into the record, no outdoor seating is on the application at this time. We are planning to open the restaurant, or Karen's planning to open the restaurant, and then we'll look into whether or not outdoor seating is needed or viable, as she does have outdoor seating at Fox and the Knife. The last point I would make is just on the restaurant hours of operation. The liquor license that she's asking to transfer into the space has a 2 a.m. closing hour. The liquor license that was previously in the space had a 2 a.m. closing hour, but she is proposing hours of operation actually from 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Midnight, 12 midnight only. So not lunch, not a late night operation, only from 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. And finally, because Madam Chair, she is the manager of record proposed on the application. She is the manager of record at Fox and the Knife, which has been open for a few years now and had no issues. It's very closely nearby. So the plan is that she will split her time between the two along with staff. She has 20 plus years of restaurant experience, and as required, she is a citizen of the United States. She's a resident of Massachusetts and actually the city of Boston. She's over 21 years of age, and her track record shows that she's familiar with the rules of the city and of the state. Happy to answer any questions you might have. Hopefully that might cover everything, but happy to answer any questions that you might have for me or for Karen. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Zazula. Karen, thank you for joining us. Since you're already an approved manager of record by this board, I don't have to repeat those questions, and your attorney outlined them. And I think you did a good job explaining what actually is going on here. I don't have any other questions, Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon.
Seeing no questions, are there any individuals who wish to testify regarding this matter, beginning with elected officials or their representatives?
Hi, Madam Chair, members of the board. Haley Dillon, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. Like to go on record in support. Both of the surrounding civic associations are both in support and can't wait for this to open. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam of the Chair, members of the board. Ana Calderon from Councilor Flynn's office. The councilor would like to go on record in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other elected officials or representatives of elected officials who wish to testify? Are there any other individuals who wish to testify regarding this matter? Seeing none, the board will take this under advisement. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Calling Boston Amici Group, Inc., doing business as Plaza on Porter, located at 107 to 109 Porter Street. Holder of a common vitular 7-day all alcoholic beverages license has petitioned to amend the description of the licensed business from in one room on first floor, kitchen and rear, office and storage and basement, including a seasonal outdoor patio in rear on private property with 34 seats between the hours of 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. Amending this to 6,322 total square feet, 3,502 square feet in 2 rooms on first floor. Main dining room consists of bar, dining area, and lounge area. Second room consists of dining area, raw bar, and standing bar area. Kitchen and rear, 2,820 square feet of office and storage and basement. Year-round patio in rear on private property between the hours of 11 a.m. and 1 a.m. Capacity breakdown, 159 inside, 36 outside. Lastly, his petition to amend the closing hour of the licensed business from 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. Attorney Kristen Scanlon. Attorney Scanlon?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Kristen Scanlon representing the licensee. Also logged on with us this afternoon are the 2 owners, Raphael Scalzi and Myvan Spencer at Potsdam Porter. The new address, because of the alteration of premises that's before you today, will now encompass 103 to 109 Porter Street at this location in East Boston. This restaurant's been open since 2019 and despite COVID has remained in great success and is a popular location in this particular area of East Boston. 2 requests before you. One is the alteration of premises to expand into vacant adjacent commercial space. It's owned by the same landlord. And the second to extend their closing hour from 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. Regarding the expansion of premises, they are adding 1 interior room to the existing restaurant, which will allow them to have further seating and a lounge area with the addition of a raw bar. It's only, as far as the main floor is concerned, adding approximately 680 square feet. So the total square footage now for the space as a whole will be 6,300 square feet, which entails 3,500 square feet on the first floor and 2,800 square feet in the basement for office and storage space. Their seating as a result of this expansion will go from 92 to a proposed 122 inside, and they are looking to just add a minimal 2 additional seats to the existing patio, which is 34 to 36. As indicated in the legal advertisement, the new occupancy proposed, which will obviously encompass seated and standing room, would be 159 people. As far as community outreach is concerned, we did have an abutters meeting this past winter and also met with the Maverick Central Neighborhood Association in March, who supported this. And we also received approval from the ZBA earlier this month regarding the change of use to expand the premises. Just briefly, as far as public need is concerned regarding the amended closing hours, the licensee would like to offer an option in the neighborhood, especially to several industry workers living in East Boston that are looking for a place to go after work. Many have requested the same to them. They do have the kitchen open till 11 p.m. And on the weekends offer an abbreviated menu between 11 and would until 2 a.m. And because there is a limited restaurant and lounge options in this area with the additional area, they'd like to be able to offer people in the neighborhood somewhere to go that's close to home versus later options that are closer to Boston proper, but obviously further away from the East Boston neighborhood.
Thank you. Thank you for explaining that. So the outdoor patio is only going to be 2 additional seats. Is that what you said?
They're not changing the patio. I know they are utilizing an expanded patio because of COVID regulations now, but that patio that's been pre-existing on their liquor license is only expanding by 2 seats.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. I don't have any questions, Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon.
Seeing no questions, are there any individuals who wish to testify regarding this proposal, beginning with elected officials or their representatives?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the board. Lina Tramelli with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on the record in support of this proposal. We hosted an abutters meeting on November 12, 2020, where the applicant addressed the concerns of the abutters, and also this proposal received support from Maverick Central Neighborhood Association. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals who wish to testify regarding this matter? Seeing none, the board will take this under advisement. Thank you. Calling KO Catering and Pies, LLC, doing business as KO Catering and Pies, located at 256 Marginal Street. Holder of a common vitular 7-day malt and wine license has petitioned to transfer the license from the above to Gogol Mogul, LLC, doing business as Seabiscuit at the same location. Andrew Platt, manager, 11 p.m. closing hour. Attorney Joseph Hanley. Attorney Hanley.
Good afternoon again, Madam Secretary, Madam Chair, members of the board, Attorney Joe Hanley, 28 State Street in Boston. With me is Andrew Platt, who is the proposed manager of record and the manager of the LLC applicant. Madam Chair, this is a proposed corp-to-corp transfer, the same location with the exact same license terms and conditions that are already in place. KO Pies is a small, intimate, and popular restaurant in the Shipyard location down on the waterfront in Jeffreys Point, and they have found a new buyer in Mr. Platt and his team, who has experience in the food and beverage industry and was an operator also in the city of Somerville, and is looking to open its Seabiscuit concept at this location. The existing capacity remains the same. There are 41 seats on the license, 25 are inside and 16 are on the patio. And it's an 11 o'clock closing hour. And again, that all remains the same. They are a sub-tenant of Massport down there. Boston Harbor Shipyard and Marina LLC is the tenant under Massport, and Andrew and the team have a lease in place with them.
Okay, is Mr. Platt here? Did you say
I am here.
Okay. I'm sorry, I missed whether or not you said he was already an approved manager. No.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Are you already an approved manager of record?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. I thought Attorney Hanley had said that, but I wanted to confirm.
Sure.
I have no questions. Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon?
Seeing no questions, are there any?
If I may, Madam Secretary, though, I think Mr. Platt, it would be the first time that he was approved manager in the city of Boston. So
okay.
Want to ask the standard questions, but he certainly is prepared to answer.
Okay, that's right. Thank you for clarifying that. Mr. Platt, are you a citizen?
Yes, I am.
Are you a resident of the Commonwealth?
I am, yes.
Do you have experience in the food and beverage industry?
I have owned and operated my own business for the last 17 years in Somerville. And prior to that, I had another 12 years of experience in the business. So yes, I'm a seasoned operative in this industry.
Okay. Are you familiar with the rules and regulations of this board, the ABCC, and the laws of the Commonwealth as they pertain to the sale and service of alcohol?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any individuals who wish to testify regarding this application, beginning with elected officials or their representatives?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the board. Lina Tramelli with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on the record in support for this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals who wish to testify regarding this application? Right. Seeing none, the board will take this matter under advisement. We're going to take a brief 2-minute recess and then we'll resume with the agenda.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
We will resume in just a moment. Right. Calling item 16 Foodies South Boston LLC, doing business as Foodies Market, located at 230 West Broadway, has applied for a retail package store wine and malt beverages license to be exercised on the above 16,000 square foot market, including 2 floors, market on ground level, main entrance exit on West Broadway, basement storage and offices, manager Victor G. Leon, closing hour 9 p.m. Attorney Kristen Scanlon. Attorney Scanlon?
Good afternoon again. Kristen Scanlon representing the applicant. Signed on with us this afternoon is Victor Leon, who is the owner and proposed manager of record of the market. This proposal is one that has been before this board before for a new off-premise beer and wine license at Foodies Market located at 230 West Broadway in Southie. Foodies does have another store location on Washington Street in the south end where they do hold a blemish-free off-premise beer and wine license. The board has previously heard about the family's investment in this neighborhood and is in Boston as a whole. I will try to be as succinct as possible because I know the board is familiar with this particular applicant. But by way of brief background, they have been in operation since 2010 at this location, well before the current and ongoing flood of new development that is in South Boston and along West Broadway. Since that time, they have invested millions of dollars to transform a decrepit industrial building into a vibrant and attractive market. They've consistently hired locally when local residents have desired a job there, and have become a pillar in the community, providing a tremendously essential need as a local market at this location. The market itself is approximately 1,600 square feet and with hours of operation from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., which wouldn't change. The applicant is seeking to offer one-stop shopping and to compete on an equitable basis with not only national and international food retailers such as Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, but also other local grocery stores that are able to offer beer and wine to their customers. Their product offering will largely focus on wines that will complement existing food offerings in the store with a selection of local craft brews and beers as well. The applicant has been committed before and certainly is still to not sell any kegs, nips, singles, no larger quantities of beers larger than 12 packs. Because this is an application for a new license, of course, the discussion of character and fitness of the applicant and public need is warranted. I would hope based on the knowledge that the board has of this applicant previously, the character and fitness isn't in question, but they are an exemplary licensee at other locations, as previously indicated, their existing store in the south end, and they've also been previously licensed in Duxbury and Belmont, but those stores are no longer in operation. As far as public need is concerned, the instance here is larger than the request for a beer and wine license. But to start, despite the fact that this type of license falls under the same umbrella of our licensing system, this request is for a small scale family run grocery market. It's not just another package store in the neighborhood. The store employs 50 people, several of whom live in South Boston. They're incredibly active in the community. Time and time again, they give back and support local charitable youth and community organizations. And since Victor Leon, the father who passed away last year, took substantial financial risk and opened this store, it has greatly improved the quality of life for thousands of residents in South Boston. This is a highly competitive industry, as the board well knows, and business, and there are a number of other local grocery options, both big chains and small operators that enjoy the benefit of selling beer and wine. While some offerings remain the same from other stores, Foodies is very different from any other nearby package store. Excuse me. The fundamental nature of their businesses are different. They are a grocery store. They are not a liquor store. They are not a packy. They will only sell beer and wine, not spirits. They close earlier than several other nearby package stores. And true that while there are nearby package stores, as you can see from the map that was previously delivered to the licensing board, there's nothing on this particular end of South Boston that offers the sale of food in the market as well with the beer and wine. However, adding to that map most recently, within the past couple of months, we note that the board did approve and found need for a D Street beer and wine license just 3 blocks away from this proposed location. Examples in South Boston of other off-premise licenses across the street from one another are Bell's Market and Old Colony Liquors off of Dorchester Street, and American Provisions and the Hub on West Broadway. The applicant hopes that the board recognizes the importance that this request will have on the long-term survival of this market, critical market in the neighborhood and for this business in this neighborhood. And it's essential for them in order to remain as a market at this location long-term. As far as community process is concerned, we did discuss this with the mayor's office, and we are relying upon the previous community outreach, which was conducted on several occasions within the past couple of years, and results in the same support and seemingly same opposition from nearby supporters of a nearby store. We've had several abutters meetings, neighborhood group meetings. It's been widely publicized through several media and neighborhood platforms, and they've been incredibly transparent about their request for the past couple of years, and that request has not changed. They've done an incredible amount of their own community and neighborhood canvassing, as evidenced by the 100+ support letters that were previously delivered to the board, along with a collection of well over 1,000 signatures in support of this endeavor, which is also depicted on a map that was delivered to the board.
I believe, did Attorney Scanlon's screen freeze or did my screen freeze?
Can you see me?
Yes, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Not sure where I lost you, but I was wrapping up anyway, saying I appreciate your time and allowing me to go through the history of this applicant, and again, hope the board recognizes the importance of this request for the long-term survival of this applicant and this business at this location. And of course, happy to answer any questions that the board might have.
Thank you, Attorney Scanlon. I do have a couple of questions. I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. So they will be offering wines that complement the food, the groceries that they sell in the grocery store?
Correct. And they also have a pretty substantial prepared food section. So their hope and idea has always been to be able to select wines that they can offer as complementary to the food offerings that they have, based off of suggestions of their wine experts in the store.
Okay. And they'll be offering local craft brews and beers?
Correct.
And they won't be selling anything larger than a 12-pack?
Correct.
And again, you describe this as primarily a grocery store. The description says it's 16,000 square feet. How much of that is going to be delineated for the beer and wine?
Half of that is the basement.
Okay, so 8,000 square feet. And how much of that space is going to be for the beer and wine?
Upstairs, there will be a couple end caps and refrigerators along the east wall. So approximately, Victor, if you can chime in on that, on the square footage. I don't have that note handy, but I know I had it before.
Yeah, it's, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, no, if I were to guess, it would be somewhere around maximum of a couple hundred square feet.
Okay, so we're not talking about something taking over half of the ground floor of the grocery store.
No, and as a matter of fact, I know this is an issue or a question that has been brought up previously, and there's nothing that's going to be taken away as far as the existing offerings and food, dry good offerings in the store. Things will just, if there are 6 items out of one thing, for instance, it'll be scaled back to 3 to accommodate the reorganization of the store to make room for this particular type of product.
Okay. And Mr. Leon, I'm going to ask you the manager of record questions.
Yeah.
Are you a citizen?
Yeah.
Are you a resident of the Commonwealth?
Yes.
And do you have experience in the food and beverage industry?
Yes, I do.
Are you familiar with the rules and regulations of this board, the ABCC, and the laws of the Commonwealth as they pertain to the sale and service of alcohol?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So just for my own reiteration, of approximately of the 8,000 square feet of the retail store, you're not going to be taking up more than a couple hundred feet with beer and wine, and you're not going to be removing offerings from the grocery store to add the beer and wine. You'll just be downsizing what's currently offered.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon, do you have any questions?
Not at the moment, thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no questions, we'll now move to public testimony. As a reminder, if you have not done so, please state your name and address in the chat function or use the raised hand function. Your testimony will be limited to 2 minutes, at which time you will be muted. You can also submit written testimony, which will be considered by the board as well. We'll begin testimony with elected officials or representatives of elected officials.
Hi, Madam Chair, members of the board, Haley Dillon, Mayor's Office, Neighborhood Services. I'd like to go on record in opposition of this proposal. Since the last meeting, we've received all the direct abutters in opposition, and we do have that on file. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam of the Chair, members of the board. Ana Calderon from Councilor Flink's office. The councilor would like to go on record in opposition to this proposal. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jack Studley from Councilor Savi George's office. We'd like to go on record in opposition as well. Thank you.
Go ahead, Alicia.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Alicia Payne here on behalf of Councilor Flaherty, wishing to go on record in opposition as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other elected officials or representatives of elected officials who wish to testify? All right, we'll now move to public testimony. When I call your name, please state your address for the record. Patrick Hayes.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioners, for recognizing me. My name is Patrick Hayes. I live on National Street in South Boston. I'd like to voice my opposition to Foodie's application for beer and wine license. My opposition runs in 2 veins: community need and community support.
How do you raise your hand?
Again, please yourself if you've not been called to testify.
Continue, Patrick. Go ahead.
Thank you. I fail to see the community's need for another beer and wine cellar in South Boston. It seems to me that there's a package store on every corner in the neighborhood. I sincerely doubt that there's been a citizen of South Boston who couldn't get alcohol for lack of cellars. If the community need that Foodies is speaking of can be accurately summed up as the need for more beer and wine cellars, I cannot agree with their assertion in good faith. If there is a different, more clearly defined community need being met, I have not yet seen it. Grocers, on the other hand, are severely lacking in the neighborhood. Foodies is my primary grocery store, and other than Stop and Shop, which is a bit farther away from my apartment, there aren't any other grocery options in that part of the city that are convenient to shop at for people like myself without a car. I rely heavily on Foodies for groceries, and my concern is that taking away shelf space for alcohol will negatively affect the amount of produce and other grocery the store can provide. I understand the proposal claims there will be no effect on grocery stock, but my very limited understanding of the business of shelf stocking informs me that shelf space is a zero-sum calculation. My second, and perhaps my most important concern, is community support. My understanding of the application process is that Foodies must demonstrate community need as well as community support. As I mentioned earlier, all 4 hearings that I've been a part of regarding this issue have seen vocal opposition. Regardless of my own opinion of the license, my beliefs in local democracy and community organizing demand that I place my trust and support in the community most directly affected by this decision. And thus far, I have seen broad opposition voiced by the local community. For these reasons, I'm opposed to the granting of an application of beer and wine license. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Calling James Carney, and I will note that in the chat, you've indicated you are with Al's Liquors. For the record, competition is not a factor the board can legally consider.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please your address for the record.
Oh, my address is 300 Summer Street, Unit 47. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, elected officials, and their staffs. I just want to thank you for letting the neighborhood speak on the issue. As I've testified before, I am opposed to this request for the obvious reason that I work at Al's Liquors and operate it with my family for the past 40-something years. I live in the neighborhood, I work in the neighborhood. My family's operated, as I've said, for 40 years here at Al's. We're a stone's throw from Fruities. I believe this is the 4th application for this request. Foodies was advised by the neighborhood before they were even open that the neighborhood opposed a license there. As for this application, there was little notice of the application, and I understand with the COVID and all that stuff. But I can only conclude that the lack of, community notification was due to the fact that Foodies just doesn't want to hear the neighborhood opposition again. And at the risk of being redundant, if the criteria for a license is need, then I believe a liquor store about 100 feet away should fulfill the need. Just like to thank you for letting us speak, and thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Calling Ellen O'Brien, please state your address for the record. Is Ellen O'Brien present?
Hi, I'm Ellen O'Brien. I actually do not live in that neighborhood, but I do work in that neighborhood. And I live in Dorchester on Savin Hill Ave. I just wanted to add to everyone's opposition on this request for food and wine. The biggest thing that I have noticed is the neighborhood is extremely lacking in a grocery store. And every time we have these meetings with Victor Leone, we continually speak about how he needs more focus on his food store to help generate that for the neighborhood. I wish he would listen to what the neighbors have been saying, because apparently he is not where he continuously keeps going for these licenses. All of the elected officials who have shown up at this meeting are also extremely opposed to this. And I just wish that we could put an end to this request once and for all and just move forward so that Foodies can focus on the thing that they need to do better, which is offer the food for the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Calling Marta Carney. Please state your address for the record.
Hi, this is Marta Carney. For full disclosure, I am a family member of Al's. I do live in Savin Hill and Dorchester. But so first off, good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the board, elected officials and staff. Thank you for all your work on this. Great to see you all on the other side of COVID. I'm glad. I would just like to formally go on record to respectfully oppose, and I do not support the retail package store wine and malt beverage license requested by Foodies with numerous establishments in close proximity. I just, as Attorney Scanlon stated in the beginning, it's all about competition, and this isn't a McDonald's and Burger King thing. It's more of a, Foodies does food, liquor does liquor, and economies of scale, and I feel like the neighborhood is already served by that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Calling Patricia Walsh. Is Patricia Walsh present?
Yes, hi. I'm Patricia Walsh. I live at 140 West 6th Street in South Boston. I shop at both Al's and Foodies. I am opposed to Foodies' request for a liquor license. As you know, South Boston already has an abundance of places to get liquor. We do not need another one. What we really need is another grocery store in order to provide, just regular food to the neighborhood. Just having two grocery stores on Broadway is just a little short of desired. The farmers market doesn't reach West Broadway. We are basically a food desert, but we are filled to the brim with ways to get alcohol. And after the city has just had discussions about M Street Park or M Street Beach, trying to limit the alcohol there, I am opposed to Foodies getting a liquor license for those reasons.
Thank you very much. Calling Laura Wise. Please state your address for the record. Is Laura Wise present?
Hi, I'm present. I live at 376 West Broadway in South Boston. I don't have much to add to this conversation, but I want to echo everyone's concerns. I wholeheartedly continue to have an objection to this based upon lack of need and every other concern that everyone articulated. And I also am just disappointed that this continues to keep coming up when they know that we have this enormous community objection. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Calling Alexandra Shapiro. Please state your address for the record.
Hi, I live in on Gold Street in South Boston, and not only do I want to say that Foodies was so important to me during the pandemic. They were open every single day. They had plenty of food, and their workers were there working day in, day out. Something that I think is really important to note is that the Inc. block, the Whole Foods Inc. block, just maybe a mile away, does offer beer and wine. And as we can see in the city of Boston, there is less and less independent supermarkets. And I think we need to give the independent supermarkets that we have a competitive advantage to be able to offer beer and wine, different things to get maybe some of the people who'd be going to the Whole Foods to get them back to some of the independent supermarkets. So that is just a point I wanted to make. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see that Kelly O'Shea has her hand raised. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hi, this is Bob O'Shea. I'm with my wife, Kelly. We live at 150 Athens Street. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, and the rest of the board for meeting with us again. We're back here for our annual Foodies meeting. Victor, you've said it, I believe, on your second annual meeting that we'll be back every year and we'll get this license because you people will be gone. Well, we're not gone, Victor. We're still here. And the fact remains, can you tell Iris, because you moved her out of the South Boston store, you brought her over, the manager over to the South End store, that we really miss her? And I believe as the manager of record, you need to be in that store 40 hours a week to have a liquor license. And I haven't seen you since the last meeting we've had online. So I haven't seen you in probably 2 years in person. But I don't want to get into the Duxbury story. And I'm in opposition to this once again. And I'm sad we have to be here again because there's elderly people who can't do this online. We had to do it during a pandemic, and it's just sad that he won't listen to his neighbors. I'm in opposition and I'm all done.
Thank you very much. For the record, I'm not sure who Iris is, but that is not who has applied to be the manager of record. Additionally, the board has regulations that determine who the manager of record is and how that will be approved. That is not a question for the general public. Are there any other individuals who wish to testify regarding this matter?
Yes. Hello.
Yes.
Hi,
Hello?
my name is Marianne Noonan.
All right, Marianne Noonan, please state your address for the record.
Yes, it's 242 C Street. I too am opposed to the request for the beer and wine license. I can't share anything more than what's already been said, but we've been through this a number of times already, and I think it's a sad day that we have to meet again.
Thank you very much.
I hope
Elaine Allen. You are muted.
Sorry about that. I am definitely opposed to it, as stated before. This is like our 4th or 5th year in a row. We have liquor stores on almost every single corner. I understand they want a beer and wine to bring their business up, but their business is already there. We don't need another beer and wine when you have one across the street and a block down. Again, as a resident, I am at 164 Athens Street, South Boston. That is my residence. I've been there for the longest time, and I've been opposing this from the beginning. We have put up with a lot with Fruity, with the parking and all that other drama. We don't need another go through this with the beer and wine license. Again, I am definitely opposed. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to jump in for a second. Mr. O'Shea, your statement about Mr. Leon, who's applying to be the manager of record, having to be on site 40 hours a week is absolutely incorrect.
There is no legal requirement that a manager of record for a restaurant or a package store be on site. Is there anyone? Oh, I'm sorry. I see Marie Allen has her hand raised. Please unmute yourself.
Hi, yes, I live at 166 Athens Street in South Boston. I really don't have much more to say after listening to Patrick and Bobby. They're right on key of how long we've been dealing with this. And just to also say the ink block is in the South End, it's not South Boston. So we're not the same as that location, but I oppose this and there's no need for a beer and wine license.
Thank you very much. Michael Elgin. Michael, please unmute yourself. Michael, you are muted.
You're on mute, Michael.
Hi, Mike Elgin, 205 West Broadway. I'm not a big fan of foodies. I think they're overpriced for the neighborhood. They're catering to the upper echelon people in the neighborhood. We're a moderate income family. I can't really shop there. I love Al's Liquor Store. They're very friendly people. They got great prices, and I don't think the competition is fair. They've been there a long time. Just wanted to give my opposition to it. Thank you very much. You guys continue.
Thank you very much. And as a reminder, competition is not a factor that the board legally can consider. Are there any other individuals who have not previously testified who wish to testify regarding this matter? All right, seeing no one, the board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Calling Giazzozi Bistro LLC, doing business as Little Pecan Bistro, located at 296 Washington Street, has applied for common victular 7-day wine and malt beverages with liqueurs license to be exercised in the above. Premise consists of a single floor build with 49 seating capacity. Total space is 1,586 square feet and customer area is 500 square feet. No outdoor seating. Hours of operation, 7 days a week. Sundays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Mondays through Wednesdays from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Thursday and Friday, 11 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. Saturday, 9 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. Manager Feng John, closing hour 9:30 p.m. Who is present on behalf of the applicant?
This is John Feng. I'm the proposal manager for the license also.
Go ahead.
Yes. Okay, so the proposal, what we want to do is just put a complimentary beverage to the customer. We have no intent to increase the space or create a separate area for alcohol consumption. So the all consumption will become with food at the table. There's no bar, there's no standing room, and there's no outdoor seating. So all the occupied space will be within the building itself. We're not extending hours for purpose of selling alcohol, and the alcohol is purely used as a complementary to our meal. Our meal consists of American, Asian, Latin fusion. So it's very unique to the area, and we believe that having a beverage, alcoholic beverage will definitely help the experience overall. Thank you.
Mr. Feng, how long have you been in operation at this location?
We started December 2019 and have continued to operate. And we shut down roughly about a month or 6 weeks during the pandemic in March last year.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you the manager of record questions for the record.
Sure.
Are you a citizen?
Yes, I am.
Are you a resident of Massachusetts?
Yes, I am.
And you've been operating this since 2019, so you have experience in the food and beverage industry?
Yes, this and before also.
Okay. Are you familiar with the rules and regulations of this board, the ABCC, and the laws of the Commonwealth as they pertain to the sale or service of alcohol?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't have any questions. Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon?
Seeing no questions, are there any individuals who wish to testify regarding this application, beginning with elected officials or their representatives?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We'd like to go on record in support of this proposal. The Mayor's Office conducted a butters meeting on April 29th. There were no concerns raised by residents at that time. The applicant went on to the Brighton Alston Improvement Association, which is the active civic group in the area, and received their full support as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals who wish to testify regarding this matter? Seeing none, the board will take it under advisement. Thank you very much. Calling Yan Shan Inc., doing business as Shaking Seafood, located at 1616 Dorchester Avenue, has applied for a common victualler 7-day wine and malt beverages license to be exercised on the above. Single level, 1,142 square feet with kitchen and dining on the same floor and seating capacity for 36 patrons. Manager Yan Jun Wong, closing hour 10 p.m. Attorney Wei Hai.
Yes, good afternoon. This is Attorney Wei Zhao on behalf of the Yongsheng Inc., EVA Shaking Seafood. We have Yongsheng Inc. was already issued a common victuals license in May this year. If I'm not mistaken, they have already had a grand opening. So this is going to be their second restaurant in Boston area. The other one is in Boston area. The other one is in Roslindale with the same DBA name. They are primarily introducing a New Orleans style seafood restaurant. This afternoon with me is a proposal manager, Jenny. We call her Jenny Ling. And I would defer to her on the concept and the need why they need a wine, the beer and wine license for their operations. Jenny?
Is it possible to put the cameras on?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Is
And your
Jenny
client
with me? Yes.
I see his name, but
I'm not sure whether because she asked me when we're going to be. Is she there?
Hi. There she is.
Would you mind just turning your camera on, please? There we go.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Can you tell us a little bit about the concept of this location?
Hi, yes. So this is our New Orleans style of the seafood. We're doing like a seafood boil. So customer can order the seafood like by that what they want. They can mix and match different kind of seafood. We make order when they order. So they can choose different style of the seasoning and level spicy. And we're gonna shake it out in the bag. We serve with bibs and gloves. So it's a lot of fun. So we have a lot of families, kids, it's kids friendly. So we open our Roslindale location is over 2 years. We did pretty good. And I mean, we got hit on COVID, but we survived. And I've been work in Roslindale over 2 years. Also, I've been like a manager over there. So I do have a restaurant experience. I do have a managing experience. So this location, we just opened on June 9th. So it's about a little bit about 3 weeks. So we already have our regular customers and we meet with a lot of the community neighbors. They love here. They usually used to be go to Roslindale, but it's traffic is over 25 minutes traffic to there. So they kind of switch back and forth, but just because we don't have a liquor license and we don't need a full liquor license, we just need some beer and wine, some flavored drinks. So the customer and families can really enjoy the food with the seafood tasting because sometimes seafood is like hot, spicy. The soda is really not enough. And our family, they came in with the parties and we don't open late, but we have our own parkings. So I mean, it's really like I would say it's really a big convenience for our the community. So a lot of customers already been requesting like if we can have some beer and wine. We wish we really can have, especially during the COVID. So it will be a plus. I would really appreciate if we can have one.
Does your Roslindale location have a beer and wine license?
Yes, we do.
Okay, are you the approved manager of record for the Roslindale location?
I'm not in the Roslindale manager.
Okay, so you're just in the Dorchester one.
Correct.
Okay, so Ms. Wang, I'm going to ask you the manager of record questions.
Sure.
Are you a citizen?
Yes, I am.
Are you a resident of Massachusetts?
Yes, I am.
And you've already described your experience in the food and beverage industry, so I don't have to ask that one. Are you familiar with the rules and regulations of our board, the ABCC, and the laws of the Commonwealth as they pertain to the sale and service of alcohol?
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Kern or Commissioner Saxon, do you have any questions? Seeing no questions, are there any individuals who wish to testify regarding this application, beginning with elected officials or their representatives?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, Patrick Fandel, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. There was a full community process held for this application that built upon previous community processes for the opening. So they've done extensive outreach to their abutters, receiving support. They've done outreach to the area main streets, and we're very excited to see this move forward in this commercial district. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other individuals who wish to testify regarding this application? Seeing none, the board will take this under advisement. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we will return for a second call to Linville Chambers, doing business as Flames Restaurant 5. Is anyone present for Flames?
Yes, I'm present. I'm the general manager. My name is Andre Chambers.
All right, please, there we go. Please inform the board what you're proposing.
Yeah. Come again? I didn't get that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please tell the board what you're proposing.
Oh yeah. Basically, we have several locations already doing business as Flames Restaurant, and we're just trying to supply and demand to our customers that they need a Ashland location, and we, we're trying to get up in Ashland. So we have all our permits already, all our occupancy, all of that. We just need, the CV to give to the Board of Health to open. We're already open, ready to open.
Okay, in the hours of 7 a.m. to 12 a.m.?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I don't have any other questions. Commissioner Saxon or Commissioner Curran?
Seeing no questions, are there any individuals who wish to testify regarding this application?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, Patrick Fandel, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We'd like to go on record in support of this proposal. Previously, the Mayor's Office helped facilitate the community process for the build out of this location, which received stellar reviews from the community. We would just ask that the board hold the vote. We're hosting one last community meeting this evening to discuss the operational logistics of the CV license, but we don't anticipate any hiccups. They've worked very closely with the Main Streets District and the Area Civic Association. Thank you.
And Pat, you'll be able to let us know how that meeting goes after this evening?
Yeah, absolutely.
Still vote on it tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals who wish to testify regarding this application? Seeing no one, the board will take this under advisement. Those are all the items before the board today. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.